people have the opportunity to convert to rabbis from Israel, okay, that's good. But then we have another problems, and they are made problems because the rabbis ask the people to take kids from school, and now the kids, they don't have their own school, they don't have the Jewish schools, and they don't have the non-Jewish schools. So that's another issue that comes up. And well, the Parnassa problems, that they need to go and live in the communities, and there are people who are having a hard time because they went to live near the communities, and then they don't have a job there, and it's very expensive there, and well, they come to a very harsh position.
But I know in places like Colombia, the Jewish community is typically in a very expensive area. In America, they won't convert you unless you put your kids in the Jewish school. But the Jewish school for each kid is $18,000 a year. So these are extra things I think they've just invented to make it hard for people to convert. I mean, there's no halakha that says that you even have to go to the synagogue. There's no halakha that says that if your kids aren't in the Jewish school, you can't convert. It's a social club. Honestly, I don't know what converts to Judaism would have in common with people who go to a synagogue in Spanish countries, because they're not religious and they're not the nicest people in the world. Because here in South Florida, all the rich Jews from Mexico, they come here and they're very stuck up. I honestly think converts probably have more in common with Messianic Jews than they do with secular Jews who go to synagogue like it's a country club. So what they have to do is start their own synagogue. Now, in terms of flying in rabbis from Israel, that's what they did. I mean, you don't need a rabbi to convert you. It says Gimel Hediotot. 3 people could perform a conversion. Yeah, the rabbis there have no guts. Rabbis in general don't have guts because, unless it's Chabad, because they don't rely necessarily on the community. Yes, they rely on donations. Their synagogues don't have a board. The Chabad Shaliach is the head of that synagogue, so no one bosses them around. But of course, if he starts letting everybody in, then people won't go, and then he won't have money for his Chabad house.
Does Chabad does conversion?
No,
they don't.
No, but they're courageous in other things. It's because they don't care to do it. Jews don't do conversions because ultimately they don't want more converts. This whole thing, v'aftem et ger lo toneh. If they really believed that converts are so special, and the Torah tells you don't mistreat a convert, and that you're supposed to love a convert, if they really believe that, they would want to see more converts. They don't believe it. But the reason they don't want to see more converts is because they don't like converts, because ultimately they're bigoted, at least in Chutz La'aretz. In Israel, it's different. In Israel, people don't care what color you are, because everyone's suffering over there. So they figure, come join in on the suffering. It's completely different. But South America, or Latin America, has a special din because Rabbi Cook, he accepted the takana of the Syrians into basically the Rabbanut of Israel, that Israel shouldn't recognize converts from South America, no matter who performs a conversion. And that's the policy. If you go on the ETEAM website, it says there's rabbis in South America that will help you move to Israel to convert, but they won't perform, as per the state of Israel, as per the Rabbanut, they won't perform conversions in Latin America. This is why when you politicize anything, you screw it up.
I think that I have a very idealistic kind of thinking, and I do think that there will be a time that these things will need to change, because there are just too many converts right now, and it's starting to change a lot of it right now. Now they are accepting a little bit more converts, like they don't have any other options really. And I do think that maybe in 2-3 generations, this will start to change a little bit, because what are you going to do with so many people?
No, you're going to start your own synagogues. That's what you're going to do. When your synagogues, they're going to get so big, and it's going to be the only from synagogue in town, that's where people are going to want to daven. And who wants to daven with a bunch of secular Jews? That's the thing, when a big Rebbe comes into town and he wants a real minyan of people who are Shomer Shabbat, he's not going to go to the local synagogue. He's going to go to the convert shul. I mean, ideally, I'm saying this is how it should work, right? I mean, really, the big Rebbes and their Gabayim are really going to go where the money is.
And also,
because they're there to collect money, yeah?
There's starting to happen that there are Jews here that they don't have the luck with their shidduchim, so they start looking within the converts, and that's a very big step. And I think this will start to be more and more the case, and they will not be able in some point to ignore all the Jewish people who will be married to converts, because they do
religious pimps, right? That we're here to offer our best convert women to their secular Jews who want to get married. It's true, because no one really wants to marry a Jewish woman. I mean, I'll tell you, I remember my first marriage, I moved to Israel to find a wife. Jewish women outside of Israel are very scary, and most Jewish men who are born Jewish prefer to marry a convert than to marry someone like their mom. I'm just saying this is the generally understood notion of like Jappy women. Typically, when a girl converts to Judaism, she doesn't last more than 2 months in the market. That's just the way it is, because everyone's going to try to marry her.
And what do you think? No, I'm sorry. Why did you stop doing conversions?
Because the vast majority of people I convert will align themselves eventually with another ideology. I'm just one person. There's only so many classes I could give. And the vast majority of my haters are people I converted. Just because there's a lot of people who don't like our style of Judaism. And they'll start calling me a fake. They'll say that I'm a heretic. So a lot of the people that I've helped have backstabbed me at the end. Unless I actually had a synagogue to take them to. And I had a synagogue for around 2.5 years in North Miami Beach. But I'm not a fundraiser. I work for a living. I got to put my kids in religious school. All this stuff costs money. So I had to close on the synagogue. So unless I had a place where they could learn from me, and I have people who come to my house for Shabbat every week, so we learn there also. But for me to convert them just for them to go to Chabad, it's not worth for me to encourage someone to be Jewish if they're going to just join Chabad or join some movement that's going to be anti what I do and anti what I teach in terms of mysticism and stuff like that. I would do conversions outside of the U.S., though. I just haven't arranged anything lately. The last one I did was in Guayaquil. I brought in rabbis from Satmar to do the conversion, just so no one could say that it wasn't religious. And then the women in Guayaquil still weren't allowed to use the mikveh in the local Chabad, even though Satmar did the conversion. Why do I attack Chabad? Because they're garbage in South America. They're forcing women to go to the beach at nighttime. Whatever. It's because people think that the face of Chabad is what you see in the telethon. That, they love non-Jews and this and that. People who converted halakhically, who are Shomer Torah mitzvahs, that they send them at nighttime to go to the mikvah. Now, technically, but you can go in the daytime too, but it's not modest.
Yes.
But so one of those girls wanted to get her conversion upgraded so they could accept it there in the Chabad. So she went to Israel to get her conversion upgraded. Even Chabad wrote a whole article with a chutzpah that they write an article on it because she was killed in a terrorist attack in Israel. Her last name was Mosquera.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard about it.
So we converted her, but because Chabad wouldn't accept her, she went to Israel to convert, and in her conversion program, she got killed. She got run over by Arab terrorists. So it shows that if they just would have accepted the halachic conversion, it would have been fine. Oh, but now that she's dead, they're saying she's like a righteous convert. Now it's all bullcrap. It's too late now. But of course, they're not going to say the real story.
Yes. So Satmar converted them. You taught them, but Satmar converted them, or Satmar also.
Right. My best friend is a Satmar Chassid.
Oh, well, interesting.
So
and he doesn't have a problem with your ideology, or
no.
Oh, interesting.
He agrees with everything with the exception of Kabbalah. I mean, he believes in Kabbalah, but he says that it's optional to believe. He believes it because he wants to believe it. And that's the healthy approach. I was even talking to Rabbi Ariel Bar Sadok. He's probably the most famous Mekubal on the internet. He told me the same thing. It's like an optional philosophy to adopt. He doesn't believe that the Zohar was written by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And this is Rabbi Ariel Bar Sadok. He's all over. He's a lot more popular than I am. There are rational Mekubalim out there who teach it just like creative writing, who are able to make a distinction between halakha and hagim, midrashim. Now, the vast majority of the teachers you see online lump it in together because they don't know any better. They're just doing whatever their teacher taught them.